Why, hello there. My name's Dakota, and this is, I can't talk today. It's
10 on 5th.
10 on 5th? And that's a fucking train.
Boo.
Boo. All right.
I'm the caboose.
You get the Red Lantern Award for being last. So this is our monthly live stream where we bring in interesting guests from around the state, talk about Alaskana, or just stuff going on, and enjoy some fun cigars and just basically hang out. Today we're joined by Bill, longtime friend of mine, who incidentally crossed paths with me a few years ago in a way that I didn't expect, and it's a small state.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So. Cigars bring each other, bring people together.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was into cigars or drinking in general.
Yeah.
Well, the drinking part's kind of normal for everybody.
In Alaska.
Well, I mean, how we met, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm Billy. I met Dakota, actually. Can I tell the story? Yeah.
Go for it.
So he was my son's scout leader, and he did a really great job of coming up with projects for us, and it was really enjoyable. And COVID ruined it. Like, it ruined so many things.
Yeah.
And then, I'd actually, another friend of the lounge, Ben, I bartended with him back at Sullivan's about 10, 12 years ago. And he had reached out to me just kind of out of the blue. I was in kind of a darker time in my life, and he invited me to come out and smoke cigars down here in this room. And
I remember I just walked in and he's like, yeah, Billy's down.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
I was like, oh, I've never met Billy before. And I walked through the door and I'm like, oh, that's Bill.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was awesome. And so I enjoyed coming down here to this space, after you guys closed up, and on occasion, I'd catch an invitation and meet some neat people. And then I learned about the lounge opening up and all the work sweat equity and work you guys were putting into it. And I got really excited about it. And man, when I finally got to see it, it just blew my mind.
You were our very first locker number request.
Yes.
The number one.
Yeah.
In fact, you requested that locker so long ago, it was written in paint in the locker room.
Yeah.
We were still literally painting the lounge when you requested a locker.
Because I knew, I was like, oh, if they're going to have numbered lockers, I want locker number 7. That's gonna be. And then when you guys brought in the lockers just last month or whatever, I got concerned. I wanted to know how you were going to number.
Oh, yeah. You don't want the one on the floor.
I didn't want a floor. I was like, if it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't want 7 at the bottom. So, because 13 is a good number.
Yeah.
42 is a good number.
Yeah.
But 7 is eye level.
It's perfect.
Yeah. So I'm very pleased. So anyways, thank you for welcoming me. I've been invited a couple of times and never been able to do it on short notice. And my work schedule changed, so I was able to be here tonight. I'm very excited.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on short notice. I think we only give you a couple of days heads up.
Yeah. Worked out well.
I just texted him like, do you want to do it? I know you've been wanting to for a while. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
All right. Should we get into what we're smoking, maybe?
Yeah.
Sure. Starting off with the Espinosa's Comfortably Numb.
Are you feeling?
Not yet. Not yet, but I plan on it.
Oh.
By the end of this, hopefully.
It's got lidocaine in the wrapper.
Yeah. So all those painkillers you took beforehand.
It's just a nitrous hit. That's all it is.
Yeah, so don't know much about it. Didn't even look into it beforehand.
Yeah.
So
You're just going in dry.
yep, yeah, it tastes like a Maduro so far. Just that not oily yet.
Yeah.
I could see how it could get a little bit of that oily taste in the mouth, but
I had that one.
Not
It
bad.
was an interesting start, and then it ramped up to like the moon.
oh,
Yeah.
It
So-
does look pretty dark. I'm kind of interested to
Oh,
see
it wasn't
how.
that. It was just like all of a sudden it became a Cameroon, and then like a Sumatra, and then it was just like, let's just throw fucking white pepper in your face.
mhm.
I was like, holy fuck.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so I'm still very much learning about cigars, and I enjoy, adding a little piece at a time. So you threw out 3 words. I don't know what they mean. So sometimes there's words that talk about the shape,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
and then there's words that talk about the leaves, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Or the flavor profile. for the
okay.
most part, yeah.
Cameroon and Sumatra are different types of leaves.
Okay.
And they can be placed kind of either on the outside or in the inside, depending on what you're looking for in the flavor profile in your cigar.
Yeah. There's wrapper, binder, and filler. So if you peel off the very thin layer on the outside, you'll see a binding layer. And then
Okay.
inside that, you'll see a filler layer. So there's a long filler and a short filler and all those kind of things.
So the cigar, not only does the the tobacco or whether the smoke build up in the cigar, but it actually changes as you smoke the cigar because they've wrapped it in a.
No, not because of the wrap, but because of it will just change just naturally over the course of the smoke because of the tar and the smoke buildup.
Right. That part I understand. Yeah. But do they basically wrap it uniformly?
Yes.
All the way.
You can get cigars that will have 3 different wraps on them, or 2 different wraps, and you'll see the color differentiation.
Yeah, you like a barber pole or something. It'll look like a barber pole. So
it'll have one where
it's very
obvious.
It'll start out as a Connecticut, and then all of a sudden it'll be a super dark wrap.
Well, and a lot of times they'll make a very clear distinction between the 2 wrappers because they want you to know that they've done that. So if they make them the same color, they have to tell you. But if you're just in there shopping by look and you see something that's barber pole, you think, oh, 2 wrappers. That's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Speaking of Cameroon, though.
Yeah. What do you
guys
got?
are
You guys got a-
smoking the Natoro Cameroon.
Oh, these are the Natoros.
The new ones coming out.
Very, very green.
Claro.
Claro?
Remember what that's called?
Yeah.
Claro?
Okay.
Oh, not Cameroon. Yeah, Claros.
Claros.
What am I talking
Cigar
about?
X.
Yeah.
Cigar X. So Notoro. So
Natoro,
I'm a big fan of Notoro cigars. I didn't know they had new Claros coming out. Oh, that's what they messaged us about.
Yes.
Okay.
These are the experimental ones.
So
Okay,
they
all right.
been hitting us up on Instagram for trying to figure out what these things are.
Yeah. If anybody from Notoro sees it, we're sorry we didn't get back to you, but we don't hang out on Instagram very much.
Yeah. I don't really read any of the comments too often.
Oh, sorry. I got it for you. That's all right.
But yeah, if feel free to email me. I need to get the order going here.
We haven't had Natoro in a hot minute.
Yeah, I always like to Notoro stuff. Veteran owned. Everything that can be done in the U.S. is done in the U.S. So obviously, a lot of the growing can't be done.
Yep.
The processing, the rolling, boxes, everything else is veteran owned and made in the U.S. Very cool.
They do their blending in the U.S. too. Which I
Yeah,
thought was pretty
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, basically the only thing they don't do in the U.S. is the grow.
What does the blending mean?
So a lot of times you'll have like a blended filler. So it's a mix of leaves. You know what I mean? So, or sometimes they'll do that. Like a barber pole would technically be like a blended wrapper.
Okay.
I mean, because it's more than.
So
All it means is more than one.
So I'm gonna take it to booze. Like there's blended whiskey,
Yes.
where somebody
Yes.
knows what they're
And then
doing
there's a
is
single.
choosing different things and they
Yes.
create a flavor for you.
Yes.
Which
Correct.
has advantages.
Correct.
And then there's like single barrel,
Which
Yes.
is Puro.
which is what for
It-
cigars?
Which is called a Puro.
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 Yeah.
Which is
It's a
single
single
site,
one.
single origin.
Yes.
Okay. Oh really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So, it'll
like-
be the same form.
So like I have a Filthy Viking, which is the
American Viking.
Viking Tobacco Company. They're started by the 2 guys that started Cigars Daily, which is probably one of the biggest YouTube cigar channels. They're based out of Phoenix, Arizona. So we were their first out-of-state dealer.
We were
Now-
their first dealer.
Oh, we were the first dealer. Okay.
We were their first dealer. I saw
Oh.
he was like, "We're doing it," and I'm like, "We should get in on this." He's got
Yeah.
a following.
So, but they don't.
So they were a YouTube channel that about cigars that got into making cigars.
They were a YouTube
yes.
channel
Shop.
that owned a cigar shop.
Yes.
So they started doing the YouTube channel to advertise like we do.
Sure.
And then they got big enough. They're like, "Fuck it, we'll just make cigars."
So they commissioned
Yeah.
somebody to make
Yeah,
a
yeah.
blend specific for them.
Okay.
So like this is a Habano wrapper and this is a Honduran filler, binder and filler. So this is called the Filthy Viking.
Pretty
And in
delicious.
fact, since they shut down their dealer network, that's kind of why I went with this because this is the last one
that we have. in the
that we
shop.
have in the shop because you can't get them anymore outside of Arizona. Even though I go back to Arizona at least once a year, give or take. And so I always stop into Cigars Daily
when you
because
go in there, you should go talk to the guy and be like, "We're the shop in Alaska. Can I buy some?"
the problem is it's like you don't just go in and ask for Tim. You know what I mean? Like he's busy. Exactly. So I don't ever do anything like that.
Is
But-
it in Phoenix?
Yeah, it's in Phoenix. There's there's more than one location, but so the one that there's one at 7th Street and north of the 101, north of Beardsley. Not that anybody knows or cares what that is.
I
But
wonder if we could.
it's kind of my old hood.
Yeah.
Where Cigars Daily is located. That's kind of my old hood. My high school is like just over the hill from where they are. It's really close. But every time I go back, so I never take cigars out of state because our taxes are so high here that cost on our cigars here is more than I pay retail in the lower 48. So every time I go down to Phoenix, I always stop into Cigars Daily and I stop into Magnums, which are not far from each other. They're about 1.5 miles from each other on the same street. And so I stop into those places and buy some cigars.
Just email
So
them as soon as you go down.
you go down there, Cigars Daily, get the cigars.
Oh,
Magnums, and
every
you get
time.
the dong bags.
dong
The
bags.
bags.
In fact, I have
We call them balloons, sir.
in fact,
you.
upstairs in my little personal humidor, in the humidor, I have a bunch of Cigars Daily stickers that I grab every time.
That was not my thought. It was like, why are you keeping condoms in the humidor?
That's fine.
Hey,
You gotta
man,
keep
if
them
you gotta
fresh.
ask, that's why you have 8 kids. Dried out ass condoms.
I mean, that backpack humidor is
The
real
T-shirt
private.
that didn't win today
Yeah.
it said, "Condoms are cheap, consequences are expensive."
I like that one.
I should wear that on my kid's birthday.
Dad, why are you wearing a condom shirt at Chuck E. Cheese? Shut up.
Everyone's giving him high fives. All his dads are like
I mean, he's turning
popping Excedrin. And
What is it?
he's turning 14. That'd be a great shirt. to
What
get.
is someone that said it was what the other name for Chuck E. Cheese is rat pizza and child casino?
That was like Bert Kreischer or somebody.
All right.
They used to have really good pizza, but then they kind of lost the quality a little bit, and they stopped serving beer. So don't stop going there.
In Phoenix, there's a place called Peter Piper, and it's kind of the same thing.
Mhm.
And that's like all the parents want to have their kids party there because they serve beer,
Mhm.
so you can get drunk while your kids are running amok.
I mean, that's why you have a big backyard and a barbecue.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can get hammered and accidentally burn the burgers.
Accidentally?
Shut up and eat your crunchy burger.
Those are called dad burgers.
Dad
Yeah,
burger.
they're not falling apart, right?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as like, the hot dog falls in the fire and then the kids want it. And it's, oh, I'll eat that.
I'll eat that one.
Yeah, I love the jar.
MG Monkey, how you
Holy
doing,
crap, we
sir?
have a comment?
It just came up. Thank you for chiming in, man. How you been?
Hey, should we do the giveaway early on instead of at the very end?
We can do it whenever you want.
Let's do it right now.
I was going to say,
All right, we're gonna do a giveaway.
I was going to say, what are you getting out of that cigar? Because it's the new weird one that's not out yet from Natoro there. What
So-
was it you called it?
It's a Claro.
What's a Claro?
Claro is that
Like
color,
light.
is that wrapper, is that
Okay.
color. Green generally.
yeah, it's very light. So, like when I would come here and was very new to cigars, I would start on the light side, and Ben would pull something for me, and then I worked my way up. I used to drink whiskey and Coke. Then I got into old fashions. Now I can drink it on ice. So it's kind of the same way with cigars.
Yeah.
So this is
Now
very,
you're running.
very mild
Yeah.
for me, for where I'm at. But it's also, I've learned, I tend to like the end of a cigar after
Oh.
it gets a little bit
Yeah,
spicier
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. I've learned that's something that appeals.
Yeah, I feel bad because I led you wrong. He said Cameroon. I was like, oh, that's kind of a mild spice that kind of builds near the end. Get a little pep in your step. I was like, oh, yeah, that'll be fine. I'm not a huge fan of Cameroons, but I was like, it's new. I'll try it.
Yeah. When you say Cameroon, it just imprinted in my head. It was
Yeah.
like Cameroon. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's a little bit earthy. It kind of reminds me of like maybe fresh cut grass. It's got a mild creaminess to it. So like that when you drink whole milk and it leaves a bit of a film in your mouth, I'm getting a little bit of that from the cigar. That's what I mean by creaminess. Besides that, just like I think it's because it's green is why I'm thinking fresh cut grass. I don't know.
Psychosomatic.
Yeah, I'm looking at them like that looks like fresh cut grass. Oh, it tastes like fresh cut grass.
fresh cut glass.
Yeah.
It's like you get the hit, you get the smoke at the beginning, but you don't get much of an aftertaste.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I
Claros are generally a pretty clean smoke.
Okay,
Yeah.
so with the giveaway of the tumbler, or not tumbler, a growler, we got 5 entries from last week that I could find. 3 of them have already won once.
How about
Hey,
I
man,
win? Just give it to me.
No.
I'll film the
There's some right there. Just take one home.
But that's stealing.
I mean, if you tell us about it, it is. No one's gonna notice.
Bill, could you pick a number 1 through 5?
3.
Well, that's MG Monkey.
Right, congratulations,
You're welcome.
MG Monkey.
So you get another growler, just hit us up, let us know.
Swing by the shop, or we'll mail it out to you. Whatever you want to do, just let us know.
I feel like if they're local, we should throw in like a.
Sticker?
No, I'm doing the pricing in my head. If you take that down to Midnight Sun, I think it would take $12 to fill it.
Oh, I'm not going to give away booze.
I
You're
just
not.
thought
You're giving him a 12. That's mine.
it's mine.
I have the same one.
Oh, well, mine's missing out of my box in the
You-
cigar
take-
lounge.
Take that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it. Don't
Mine's-
threaten me.
I was gonna be like, mine's probably at home somewhere.
Keep up with the comments.
I've been trying to. Sweet.
Glad to hear you guys.
Hey,
was
well,
meant to
tuning
be.
in paid off.
Have you had one of these before?
No, he hasn't.
Because I'm not sure who all has one, but I know you've been a part of a lot of them. So if you haven't won one before, congrats! Yay! Yeah. So now back to story time.
So you met Ben back at Sullivan's. Sure, I was like that.
Yeah, we were bartending together,
All right, cool.
and yeah, it was one of those things where, you know, like social media, you can complain about all you want, but it's a nice way you can stay in touch with people.
Yeah.
Where when the reason that you know each other goes away, you can still stay in touch. And
Yeah.
I think we kept up on Facebook a little bit, and then just like just that invitation and just you guys create, like, I experience you guys as like a little family, and you create like a very welcoming environment. So even when it was just this place, it always felt like fun to come, and I would meet Dan and meet Dave and some of the other characters around here.
Well, when everything shut down during COVID, it was like, there's a UFC fight on. Maybe just put it on in the studio.
Yeah.
Without coming out the studio.
I remember you had the thermometer on everyone. Just like,
Yeah, I had the little laser thermometers where you shoot everybody in the forehead when they come in.
That's funny.
oh.
Yeah, so we just fucking set up a bunch of chairs and put on the UFC fight, and like, well, it's better than going to your house and like smoking up your house and dirtying up your house, and you just come here and it's like make a mess. Who cares?
That guy that took Starbucks from nothing to everything, whatever, famous CEO, right? But he talked about a third place, right? So there's work and there's home, and you need a third place. That's what we wanted Starbucks to be. Yeah. And when I tell people about the lounge, I tell them it's my unhealth club membership. And it's a third place.
Yeah.
It's a place you're not in your home, you're not dealing with whatever's going on there.
Yeah.
You're not at work, you're not dealing with whatever's
community hangout.
Yeah.
Like, I can stop in for 2 hours, smoke a cigar, watch a little TV, play on my phone, whatever, but it like brings my blood pressure down.
Yeah.
It's just a chill place.
That's why we did the cushy leather chairs and the dim lighting and the relaxing color scheme.
Yeah.
And like the music is very mellow and it's audible, but it's not in your face. And it's like, because you can come here and like, if you want to tune out, put in headphones, cool. If you don't, you just want to relax, you can just do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you come on like a Friday night or a Saturday night or a Thursday night football or do the events. It gets,
but that's a whole other vibe. That's a whole other vibe.
Exactly. And it's, if you want that big social aspect, that's available to you too on the busy nights that you would expect. But like the last event we did, it was to the point where I was talking to Ben. I was like, dude, think about telling people we're at capacity. Like, I think we had 45 people. My last head count, we had 45 people in the lounge, which is basically capacity.
And they had a pretty good, what would you call him? Just a guitarist? Singer, entertainer?
Not the bourbon tasting.
Oh yeah, I was talking about the Blue Run tasting. Was the one where it got so busy that we had to like turn people. But it's like also, when we do tastings, it's like
that guitarist I did look up. He's fucking hilarious.
For members only, since it's a private club, once you get in the door, it's all free. Like cigars and whiskey, it's like this is what you pay for. This is this is the community. This is the club aspect.
Your dues paid for this. You bought it.
Exactly. This is your stuff. Your dues paid for this. It's not our stuff. This is a nonprofit. We don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's I like doing that. And so since when you advertise a cigar event, it's like everybody knows it's free whiskey and free cigars. Like you get a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, we'll have to have like a little clicker, like the guy at Costco, or used to.
The problem is the in and out, bathroom and stuff, unless you have somebody standing at the door. But you can kind of tell. Like, I started to do a count, and my first count was 42.
Yeah.
And that's when I went and talked to Ben, and I was like, be cognizant that there is 42 people down there. Like, if 6 people roll in, you probably can't tell them yes. But if one more dude shows up, cool. I was surprised. It was the first time we've ever gotten to a point where it was like, I don't want to turn anybody away. I really don't want to, but it's like, to a certain extent, like.
I'm curious. How's that cigar going?
It's good so far.
Really?
It's Maduro. That's all I get out of it.
Nothing. When I had it, it went from like
0 to 100.
It went from like a little bit of like pep in the background to like sheer white pepper near the end.
The retrohale I'm not enjoying. but just regular puffing on it. Not a
Actually, have you done a retrohale before?
Mm.
Okay, so I'm gonna do it first on this because
You ever a smoker?
Yes.
Exhale through your nose. They,
Oh.
But cigars, they call it a retrohale.
wow, that's the most mild retrohale.
But you're
I've
not
ever had.
okay. But you're not.
But you don't, no. So like,
So you gotta-
if you watch
you gotta-
me,
Get it from your mouth out your nose.
Yeah.
so if you watch me do it, I do it funny
Okay.
because I can't do it just.
Proper.
So watch. So I have to blow air into my cheeks
Yeah.
and then push my
Yeah.
cheeks and force it out.
Basically, what I've
Worried
been
about
doing is
coughing.
I get the puff or take a breath, get the puff in my mouth, and then push it out with my tongue.
Out the top.
Uh,
All right.
I did the retrohale on
And
it.
this is a flavor enhancing technique
Yeah.
or a way to.
Get
So
more
I mean,
flavor.
all your flavors in your nose, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like your tongue gets a little bit of texture in like 4 basic
Right.
flavors,
Right.
but your tongue doesn't do anything for cigars. So you're pushing it up through your palate so you can get a little bit out of it.
When my wife was in high school, one of her friends was in a car accident.
It's hard to do.
It's gonna take some
Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
Well, and
it's not comfortable.
and you got to be careful with certain cigars.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I retrohaled that 3 times in a row, and like my eyes are starting to water.
Yeah.
So we did,
But I did a Maduro,
we
right?
did the Valkyrie because it was so smooth.
Yeah.
And then we're both sitting here just tears down
Yeah.
our face, like, oh my God, what did we do?
But when my wife was in high school, she knew a guy. He got in a car accident. He lost his sense of smell, and so after that, food mattered so much less, and so he would eat iceberg lettuce because it was a texture thing now, and lost like
Instead of flavor.
yeah, and he lost like 40, 50 pounds
Wow.
because it's like he doesn't care about the flavor so much anymore because since he can't smell, the taste is so muted, and so it's all like I just want to eat texture, and so it became
That's
iceberg
interesting.
lettuce became his thing.
That's
interesting.
very
Wedge
weird.
salad.
I hope I didn't murder
Texture.
that. I hope I didn't murder that story. As far as that's how I remember it.
I had a boss when I worked at Best Buy when I met Ryan. And
Yeah.
he pull this up here real quick.
Actually, I'm a Duke fan, and they're playing right now, so I'm not bracket busted.
I had a boss when I worked at Best Buy.
By the way,
15
hi
years ago.
Daniel. Sorry, we should have brought that up. Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting.
Hey there,
you,
Daniel.
but- Hi Daniel. He took the time to comment. We should
Exactly.
give him the benefit of at
Mr.
least-
Warden.
Who's your team, by the way? Because like I said, mine's Duke this year. So.
I got the Padres.
Oh yeah.
They lost the Cubs opening day.
You know, actually, I picked Duke this year. No, I picked
Bracket
Duke this
team?
year. Yeah, I picked Duke this year because I have family in North Carolina, and I'll actually be in Durham in a month.
Hey, that would kind of make sense for me to enjoy North Carolina team, but
Yeah,
since I lived there for 4 years,
yeah, right.
but I didn't even know Duke was in North Carolina.
It's in Durham.
Yep,
Can you
been there a few times.
Well, there's also Tar Heels.
New River.
New River. Yeah.
Of course,
We're switching
I
over
was
to try
going
the
there
other
to
one.
watch the Hurricanes.
Oh, all right.
But my boss, he had a very destroyed sense of smell. He got blowed up at some point when he was in the Army.
Okay.
And they reconstructed his face, but he lost his sense of smell. He looked completely normal, but like he had no sense of smell. And so like his thing was hot sauce because
Makes sense.
it was extreme enough that
Oh,
he
he-
could taste it.
And he'd get a physical reaction out
You
of it.
get the
I bet.
physical reaction, and then also the bolder the hot sauce would actually be strong enough that his taste buds could pick it up.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So like he loved fucking
Well, I
tacos.
watch my
Mexican
kids.
food was his goddamn game. Like it was just nothing but tacos.
I watch my kids. My daughter's so sensitive to spiciness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's because your taste buds like die as you get older.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, even
This
if you don't
helps
have an accident,
a lot.
no, for
Yeah.
sure. It's like you can. The kids are so set. I think that's why they're so picky in some because flavor
They're
just
super
hits-
sensitive.
Flavor just hits them so hard. Then as you get older, you start to like blue cheese. You start, you know what I mean? You start to like.
I was a weird
Adult
kid.
That was a struggle for me, blue
Yeah?
cheese. Yeah.
I was a weird kid. I love blue cheese.
Really?
Oh yeah. I
So,
love the funk.
About 7 or 8 years ago, I
It's not as,
decided.
like, pungent anymore though. I've noticed that.
About 7 or 8 years ago, I decided that I didn't want to not like shit anymore. Like I'm never the guy who, when I go and order something, I'll never have special instructions, almost ever. And so, but there's lots of stuff that I kind of didn't like. So I would try all this shit I didn't like in a bunch of different ways to try to figure out a way to appreciate it. And one of the last things that it took me to check off that list was blue cheese, and it was hard. And you know what did it is a buddy of mine used to throw on this giant barbecue downtown every year. It was called the Big Ass Barbecue, and it was invite only, and it was a nice big party.
He doesn't do it anymore?
No, the guys that did it kind of aged out, and their kids are not interested. But he made this blue cheese potato salad, and it was killer. I was like, okay. So now I found an appreciation for it. So now I just have to find a way to like it on other things. And now I've gotten to the point where blue cheese on steak,
A little bit on steak.
a little bit, not a lot, because I don't like to overpower the steak, right?
It's not like Club Paris where they stuff like a pound of blue cheese in the fucking steak.
Yeah, and especially if you mix a little blue cheese in your horseradish, because I was always a horseradish guy. And I give that. So then I found appreciation for that. Root beer and blue cheese were some of the hardest things it took me to get.
Huh?
Yeah. I don't know why root beer. It just bothered the shit out of me.
Have you ever had like root beer made the way they used to do it at
Nope.
soda shops? And stuff?
No, just don't. I mean, I didn't like it. So like I've had very few.
Sarsparella's not your
The Henry Weinhardt's
Mhm.
that we carry upstairs, that's the one I kept trying to figure out. And finally, I'm finally fine with it. So there's
I've been the same way with fish all my life,
Yeah.
but I keep trying to. I haven't lately, but every year I try fish and be like,
Yeah.
maybe this is the year I start liking it. And no,
Like, even
You're
like-
saying like all fish?
all fish, anything.
really like
almost
even like some like cod or halibut fish and chips.
I was gonna say
Even
white fish,
whitefish.
and then like all the way to salmon is like full
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah.
It's not the initial taste; it's always that little aftertaste of the fish, the ocean. You know?
The seawater, yeah.
You know what?
Salty.
You know what really got me
Trout.
to appreciate, because I was a little bit, like I still don't generally eat salmon. If it's offered to me, I can deal with it. But orange roughy is a really mild whitefish. And that's what really, my wife used to make orange roughy fish and chips. And it was fantastic. And that really got me to appreciate it. And then I kind of developed a taste for it.
As a kid, parents make you fish sticks. You eat them. They're okay. I'd eat them, not enjoy them. But
Even fish sticks as a
You're
kid.
talking cod and pollock.
You're like,
everything.
they don't make a poop.
Whitefish.
Yeah. so if I was in
that's
a situation,
non-appreciation.
I would eat fish.
Yeah.
Like out in the middle of the wild, abandoned by every
Hold on, wait.
civilization.
I want to comment on Daniel before. Okay, so he gave up on men's, rooting for South Carolina on the women's side. All right. So you know what got me into appreciating women's college basketball was pre-COVID. Was it 19 when UConn went under the women's basketball UConn team went undefeated? They were actually really good to watch. That was a good team.
What got me is when they started wearing spandex.
Actually,
When they started playing in leotards.
I like watching women's basketball specifically because it's not all 3-pointers.
Mhm.
Like
It's a whole lot of missed layups.
Yeah, but like you get to see them like really work for it to get closer to the hoop. Like they actually like work for it, and there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. Whereas you watch an NBA game anymore, it's just
Well,
three-pointer.
Steph Curry changed the game.
Yeah.
And he tilted it that direction.
I hate it so much. It's so boring to watch.
I've never enjoyed basketball. Even went to kind of like fish. I try it every once in a while.
Basketball's like fish.
Sitting there, I'll watch a game. I even went to Nets versus Knicks in the Madison Cube Garden.
Well, I saw a Cube Garden.
The Cube.
Nice
But,
reference. Nice
the-
Futurama reference there.
The zirconium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I went.
Yeah.
We walked out. My dad, his gal Susie, and myself. We all walked out because we
Really?
all were bored.
so I grew up in Kansas City. We never had a basketball team when I was growing up.
Mhm.
There was like
Which is weird because it's flat.
well, I know, but you can't dribble a basketball on like cow patties and shit. But they have
You just got to work well.
So we never had a basketball team, but we got WGN because we were close to Chicago, so I could watch the Bulls play. So like I literally am wearing Jordans right now.
Mhm.
But
I mean, who didn't want to watch the fucking Bulls at that time?
yeah, I mean it was the heyday, right? But going to Suns games, like live basketball games, I really do enjoy, but I would rather watch the highlights than sit and watch a full game on TV.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I have watched, some of the highlights of basketball, and I don't not enjoy that. One of the biggest things is the shit talking that everybody does. Like even, between, two friends, or you're in high school just shooting hoops in gym class. and everybody's just talking shit. And I've never been a guy just talking shit for fun.
Entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a scholarship playing point guard, and I can't stand watching fucking basketball.
Dakota, you got a scholarship. You're playing point guard.
Just leave it there. You got a scholarship.
No, I can believe in an academic scholarship, but the fact that this man earned an athletic scholarship is surprising to me.
It was not a lot, and it was UA.
Okay, but still,
Hey man, but you still get to say that
yeah,
sentence
you
without
say
being a
it for
liar.
the rest of your life.
So basically, the high school he went to, there was only 5 people there.
And he was the tallest.
I played basketball in high school, and then I wasn't bad, but I wasn't great. I never played in any of the games. It was always bench, always fucking bench.
And you got a scholarship.
I still got a scholarship.
What?
It wasn't a lot.
Nobody else applying?
It paid for the books.
Yeah,
It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. It was
Free money.
like, we'll give you.
Yeah, I mean it's something.
I think it was like $4,000.
Hey,
It wasn't a lot. I was interested in playing on the team anyway,
So
and they're like,
where
you
did
know
grow
what?
up?
Here.
Here in Anchorage.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
His
Oh, yeah.
scholarship was to UAA.
Yeah. But here's the
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
Like,
I remember that.
I've just been, I do Uber on the side, and I've been doing a bunch of people because there was just some kind of big tournament,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Basketball, like high school basketball, is huge in Alaska.
It
I
is.
don't know if
Mhm.
people on the outside understand like how big a deal it is.
Well, they don't understand
Like,
we
they-
don't have
they-
any sports.
Yeah, but they come. Folks come from all over the
Oh, yeah.
state for these
Oh, yeah.
tournaments, and it's
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is these little towns and villages like live and die by how their teams do
Yep.
in these tournaments.
Actually, Barrow.
I'm sorry, what?
has- Barrow.
I'm sorry, what?
What about it?
Ukiakvik?
Okay. Barrow.
I had to practice that several times.
Me too.
to start
want-
to get even close.
I've been to Barrow numerous times, and when you land there,
They
and you
still
talk
call
to
it
anyone,
Barrow.
They call it
Yeah.
fucking Barrow, and they're like, we don't know why.
There's 67 people that voted to make it.
Oh, is that really what happened?
67 people.
Yeah.
I was there in July. It
They
is
have like 1,200
bananas.
people.
Yeah, I know.
But still, like the high school band in Barrow, for the population, almost every single kid gets a full ride scholarship for music out of that thing. Like they have nothing to do all fucking winter except play their instrument. They go down to a competition, they all win scholarships, and they go to the college of their choice every single time. Like so many of them go to Gonzaga, and like over on the East Coast, most of them go to Gonzaga, honestly. But like I've always been very surprised, like that's like at a musician mill. Like it
Yeah.
just pumps out professional musicians like crazy.
I had a friend who, I had a friend who went to Gonzaga. She went for, she's a lawyer now, actually.
Yeah.
Hold on, we got another comment that we've been letting slip. It's been 6 minutes. Sorry, Mark.
Oh my gosh.
Big George and I need to revisit Anchorage. Well, you and Big George are definitely welcome. Hit us up.
Is it an ironic name?
Is Big George little?
Little.
Yeah, is he like, is he
Like your giant friend you call tiny?
Yeah. yeah, Big George is like 5 foot.
Accurate or ironic?
Yeah. Or Big George is Big George.
Or he could be just loud.
Yeah.
Like a big ass George.
So I got one good.
I'm a mile away.
I got one good cigar story. I think it's a pretty good story.
We'll
So
be the judge.
yeah,
No, we won't.
my father passed when I was little, and his best friend is my godfather, and he's a pilot for TWA. Just to give you a little idea on the timeline here, he's an old man now.
TWA.
He retired as a captain.
Used to
and
work for Braniff.
yeah, actually, as a pretty important honor, he was chosen to fly Pope John Paul. My godfather is Catholic, and he was chosen to fly John Paul near the end of his flying career and near John Paul's
I
life.
say John Paul's also dating.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly.
we're close to age.
It's a pretty big deal for my godfather, and an honor. Anyways, he is Mexican and Cuban. His mother is Cuban, and so when she was at the end of her life and she was kind of not with it quite, she would lapse into Shakespeare, and she was an uneducated woman. He's like, "Where did you learn Shakespeare?" Well, she came from Cuba, ended up in Florida, Tampa, and way back in the day when Ybor City was like actual Ybor City,
Yeah.
they would have cigar rollers, right? And they would have readers that would read to the
Yeah.
cigar rollers.
Yeah, they still do that.
And she was a reader, and she would read the newspaper, she would read Shakespeare, she would read all these stuff while these
Yeah.
folks
So
are
she
rolling
was
cigars.
educated, essentially.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
tangentially.
That's really cool.
And so she would be one of these readers. I mean, before he was born, he's 87 now. She's long passed, but he didn't know this about his mom.
Yeah.
And then he finds out like it's the cigar culture,
Yeah. They still do that.
geoeconomic culture.
Yeah, they'll read the newspaper and current events and
While these
everything.
people are just, these people are rolling these cigars, and so she was a reader.
That's really cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That is some cigar tradition right
we
there.
go. And Ybor City, I mean, I visited 20 years ago. It's totally commercial now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, that was like a
I
cigar
bet that.
hub.
That tradition's like pre-radio.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You go to the J.C. Newman factory, it's still the same as it was back when.
What is that?
J.C. Newman's basically Cousteray,
They're just a manufacturer,
brick house, all the
Brick House. I bought some Brick House.
Mhm.
It's in my little locker.
So those guys are under J.C. Newman's.
Okay.
And so they got their own cigars, and they have rollers there and whatnot. But the big old factory, and they are still that same factory as they had from back in the day.
Well, I mean,
where you're
Hand rollers
Yeah.
and somebody
having somebody reading.
entertaining.
If it ain't broke,
Yeah.
I mean, J.C. Newman's a huge name. If it ain't broke, why mess with it?
Yeah, they're. It was really cool taking the tour of the place too, because they showed you the cellar area where they keep all the.
What city is this?
This is Ybor,
Oh, okay. Okay.
so she could have been actually.
Yeah,
reading that.
She could actually work for J.C. Newman. Yeah.
But they had some areas where like they had the dusty clippings and everything that they would just sweep from the top level, which is like 4-story building, into this little square hole, toss all these clippings down into it, and into the next level down.
And then they make cigarettes out of it.
Well, they could, have the Christmas party or whatever, and somebody got drunk and it's like, hey, we into the hole and into the clippings. Apparently, it wasn't as deep as he thought it was.
He's just up to his waist.
Hey,
Somebody get me out of here.
no, I got hurt.
Oh my God.
I just imagine someone like, I imagine that, and it's like this giant pile of leaves. It's like, it's going to save me. And it's like, no, those are all a ribbon cut. You're going to fall right the fuck through.
It's not gonna stop you.
Oh man, yeah, it's pretty bad. But I'd probably do it. I'm not gonna lie. Looks like it could have been pretty fun.
I watch too much like Fail Army to fall for any kind of shit like that. It's like,
Like big pile of leaves,
car crashes and
Yeah.
Fail Army. Like, I don't take any risks. I'm in my fucking
That
40s.
big-
I'm not doing that shit.
That big pile of leaves definitely has a fire hydrant under it.
Yeah, exactly. Or a rock or cactus.
Cubes.
Oh yeah, I'll just.
Oh, there are not any cubes.
They're not any cubes.
I stole the last
That's
two.
all right. That's all right. I can get my. I was just gonna switch to.
Water's cold.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So a little cut with the cubes will do just fine.
Yeah, Uncle Nearest is a little bit different. It's a little bit sweeter.
I'm a big fan of Uncle Nearest. The
He-
black and the white label are really good, which is that's the
so-
black, obviously.
Jack Daniels apprenticed to him.
Yes.
So this is a Tennessee whiskey. Not.
No, it's a bourbon.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure? Sure.
No, I'm not.
I think the white label is their bourbon. I think.
Okay, the white label's a step down.
If we had a bigger audience, they could Google it for us, but they're not gonna.
It is it doesn't say bourbon, so it would.
But yeah,
But it doesn't say Tennessee whiskey either. It just says whiskey.
But it does say Tennessee.
Yeah.
Doesn't say bottle
But
of
yeah,
bond either.
Jack Daniels apprentice. It was Dave. Dave Webb.
He brought one down.
Yeah, he was the first one to bring down Uncle Nearest, and he brought down the white label. We were all very impressed. And now they have.
Is this like available? Most
Yeah.
most liquor
So,
stores?
in fact, if you go down to, there's a La Bodega at K and 7th. Do you know where? What's the bakery down there?
Fire Island.
Fire Island. In that same building is a La Bodega.
Oh, that's a cool little building. I
Yeah.
just noticed.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot going on there. I need to
Yeah.
check that out.
I live kind of around the corner. I live
Okay.
I live down by Inlet Elementary, right? So it's kind of a short walk. And during the summers, we'll walk up there, and they carry white and black label Uncle Nearest, but they also have a new green label out that
I brought it.
he brought it in.
The green label is basically Jack Daniels spruced up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doctored up Jack Daniels.
White is the best, black is the second best, green is third, but that's not saying anything bad about the green. They're all very good.
I was actually going to say La Bodega has a barrel pick from them now.
Wouldn't surprise me.
So when I was there getting this, they had it, and it was not tenable. Like it was not in the budget.
Really a $109 bottle. Oh, geez. Okay. All right.
We're talking more like 190.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Okay. Because I think what white label is under 90, I think.
So the white label was 90.
Mhm.
The black label was 50. And then the green label was 30. And then they had this one step up, which was their barrel pick. And
Was
it was
190?
Like 190.
Well, and that's the thing too about when I describe like the location and like it's kind of fancy and it's by a fancy bakery and you think, oh, it's going to be expensive. The prices are very, very good.
Okay.
Even, you know, there's
I actually asked my grandfather about that place.
Yeah.
So like when he first came to Anchorage, it was that K Street building
Mhm.
was a butcher, a baker, not a
and a
candlestick.
cabinet maker
No,
or
no
a candlestick
no
maker. Is that what it is?
It was a butcher, baker, and a tailor.
Oh, all right.
So you could go in there, drop off your shit to get fixed, get your meats, get your breads, go home.
Yeah, go and make a sandwich, get some schmutz on your
And then
suit.
across the street was like a general grocery store for like fresh produce. So like you'd go there and it'd be like a general market. And then in the summer, I guess they'd take over the whole street and have like little carts and stuff out in the street and everything.
Yeah. Oh, they used to do a K Street market over there.
So I guess that's been like a general like he said it was high end back in the late 60s.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a bougie grocery market store.
Well,
this
the building,
entire
it
time.
looks cool. Like
It
I,
is
I
very
literally
cool.
just noticed it.
Oh, yeah,
And,
they
like,
have-
put it on my radar.
they have,
Like,
like-
I need to stop
They
it.
have like these stylized glass garage doors, and so during the summer they just open it up, so half the building just opens up, and now they have.
They do
now
it
it's
because they
a-
don't have air conditioning and there's a fucking bakery in
Well, yeah,
there.
but what in Alaska has air conditioning? You can go to the mall. Like that's me and my wife. I remember one of the
That's
second.
why we eat at Spenard Roadhouse in the peak of summer.
Yeah,
Is because I am not
the
turning
second
oven on
the
at
second
home.
place I ever lived up here was an apartment. I was at the end of the building, and the only wall I shared was the north wall, which is the only place the sun sets in Alaska. So it means sun, 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 sun all day, and I had all these windows, and so I'd come home, and my thermostat would say it's 89 degrees
geez.
in my apartment, and I was like, pick a restaurant with air conditioning because I ain't fucking. We're not hanging out here. And so we'd always go to Sullivan's because it was attached to the mall. And we're like, it's always nice in Sullivan's. Love the food. That's where we're going. So you were probably there at the time,
Maybe
but
so.
we just didn't know each other.
Yeah.
You had a full head of hair.
I did.
Sorry, I feel bad.
No, not at all.
We got Sean
Well, I mean,
chiming in from Seward, just saying hi.
Good evening, sure.
How's it going, Sean?
Yeah.
So if you did grow out your hair,
If anybody's smoking,
what
let
it
us know what you're
looked
smoking.
Way worse.
I don't know, man.
Way worse.
Looked like it would look like that.
I knew like I wasn't gonna fight it. Wasn't gonna do the Rogaine, wasn't gonna do the comb over, none of that. Like I had long curly hair, and then it started to thin on top. I was like, all right, it's going away.
Mhm.
I had short hair for a while. Then I was like, all right, I played with like you're not bald guys, so you don't know this, but you can either do like a rate like a shave
circular
cut, the
shave
shave cut.
thing,
Well,
yeah.
you can do the no guard, which is what I do.
Yeah,
But you can also do like to the skin.
Yeah,
I played around with that, and then I decided no guard is the look.
You don't want to
So-
look like Lex Luthor.
My wife does hair. She used to own a salon, but she has 2 clients, and she's like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, well, now she knows what they're doing, but she's like, the regrowth is astounding.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I try that? She goes, please don't, because I have too much hair as it is. But
When inevitably it comes from me and Mandy talked about it, it's just going to be like one on the guard and just, and I'll just stick with that for the rest of my life.
No,
Dude,
you don't even
why-
need a one.
why don't I
No
just?
guard, just no guard.
No,
That's what
I don't.
I can just
don't want
ask
double.
my wife
Oh,
what
you don't
these
want
dudes are
double.
doing because it's obviously working.
Like if you started doing it, you just start slowly.
I know,
creeping
it's
down your
And
forehead.
we just connect my eyebrows.
Your beard comes up.
Yeah, my beard would just start fucking connecting to my eyelashes and shit.
Actually, I saw online there's like a genetic disorder. He's like the
Yes.
wolf man.
Yeah.
He's like the wolf
Wolf
man.
man.
He's
Yeah,
got-
wolf man face. Yeah.
I just saw that.
Yeah,
picture.
that would be me. I already have so much hair on my head. And you know what's fucked up is I couldn't even grow a full beard until I was in my mid-30s. Wow. I think
Actually,
the first time
when
I had
met you did not have a beard.
yeah, I had a patchy ass beard
You had a
until I
goatee.
was like
You had a little
36.
goatee
So-
thing.
I was
Soul
about
patch. He had a soul patch.
32 when I moved to Alaska, and I'd never grown a beard. I'm like, I'm moving to Alaska. I got to find out if I can grow a beard.
Yeah. That was
That's exactly what I did.
the first time I grew a beard. That's exactly what I did.
The fun thing is most of the corporate chains that have a location in Alaska have a dispensation for people to grow beards in
That's
Alaska.
funny.
So
That's
like,
really funny.
yeah, so like when I worked at Best Buy, there's these corporate guys who come up and get stationed up here for a little while as they're doing their rotation throughout the whole company before they move up to a C level.
Do they grow a beard because they can?
And they come up here and like they read the rules and they're like, everyone here has a beard, isn't that against the rules? And they're like, no, it's Alaska. And they're like, okay. And then at the end of the year, it'd be like this big
That's
Father
funny.
Time beard.
That's funny.
And then they'd be like, I don't, the ladies don't like this. And I'm like, no one does.
But when I was in college, I bartended at a Hyatt resort I bartended at a Hyatt resort in Scottsdale, and they didn't have a restriction on facial hair, and so we had this one dude who like, and it was like it was the pool bar, and so you'd be wearing like these, you'd wearing trunks and a really thin light shirt, you're outside in the sun, in the Scottsdale sun all day. And then this one dude that worked for us had this full fucking lumberjack beard. And then he's wearing like swim trunks and a white t-shirt that you can see through. And it's like, you look like someone forced you to do this. Why?
The most awkward position for him to be.
He's a really nice guy and I liked him. He's good at
You
his
wanna try the
job.
thing?
I will say your assumption is correct.
On those?
Yes, it does make the cigar lighter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You did.
So
try it.
I did try it a couple of times.
It's
yeah.
yours now.
And no. I used this one over here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
It's
so-
yours now.
No, so I tried it a couple of times and then pulled it off and then a couple of puffs and then put it back on, a couple of puffs. And so I tried to like kind of
Gauge
back and forth. And you are correct.
And
It
so-
does mix with air and it does make the cigar seem a touch lighter.
So for anybody who's wondering what we're talking about,
It is
these are
not the
guys-
world's smallest butt plug.
It is a little cigar extension. So if you like to nub your cigars, instead of burning your
I'm
fingers,
sure you love to know.
you get to hold on to these. And my thought process was that it's going to kind of like take a little bit out of the.
Here, you want to do that?
Yeah, just right over. The people will see it full screen.
I thought you were handing
So-
it to me.
There we go. It's like that. And there's a little glass topper. Which
But
my
cool.
my only
Is this a correct position for them to read it?
my
I
only
can't tell.
it's good enough. My only reservation is reusable smoking products generally tend to like
Get nasty.
So
especially
you
with
can get the stuff from the head shops that like.
yeah, I know, but
They-
even yes, and even but
Oh.
the frosted is what worries me about it.
Just drop it nasty.
Because the frosted, but then you'd smoke through it.
it's glass. Just drop it nasty.
So-
All right, here it's all yours, dude.
No, or you
That
can
is-
drop it. You can drop it in a thing of boiling water.
Well, so this
That's what I
dude's
would do with
he's
my-
never owned a bong. Never owned a bong.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've owned several.
All right. So this
You boil it.
I didn't realize this was a pass through as well.
So these are made by Cosmic Glass here in Alaska. Dakota, you keep
Oh,
turning it upside down.
It's yeah. There you,
The guy came into the shop yesterday and he was wondering if we'd buy some. And so these we'll have a couple for sale. If anybody wants
yeah.
to try one.
and I will say, your assumption was absolutely correct. It does mix with a little bit of. It has this little buffer of air, right? And it does make the cigar seem a little bit tamer, a little lighter, a little mellower.
The guy also
I will
has
agree.
ashtrays, also
Does he
some
make 'em?
planters.
Does he make them or like?
Yes. I mean, he does not source them out. He has a patent pending on it. And because he's the only one making them out of glass. So you got wood ones, you got other.
You want ones that are glass so you can actually sterilize them clean.
Yeah, and I do say they I was skeptical.
I feel like you should do that.
They work incredibly well. Like the seal is perfect. They do exactly what you think. Like conceptually, you're like, I don't know if it's gonna work, and then you try it, and it's like, no, it's exactly what you think it's supposed to do. It's very well designed.
So there's words for the different shapes of cigars, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So will that work for
There's many different ring gauges.
Ring gauge is all you really
Oh,
want.
so the different colored ones are maybe different ring gauges?
Yeah.
I think these two are the same ring gauge, but we also have one for a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And then he also has ones for bigger ones. But I mean, I can't buy a bunch of them at the moment.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
But this is, I think,
just asking
this
out of
cigar is
curiosity.
a 5x55,
Mhm.
right? Which is pretty common.
Standard
It's
Robusto.
Robusto. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, legit, perfect.
Yeah,
Like-
basically that would fit a Toro or Robusto.
Like and with no coaching, no nothing. I was just like, I don't know. I guess I'll fuck with this thing, and it works perfectly, exactly like what you described.
My thoughts was that it kind of cut out a little bit of that extra tardiness when you get a little bit closer to the end. Some of that bitterness that you sometimes get.
Yeah.
I highly wondered about him at first. Was skeptical, but I mean, then I thought about it, and the guy came back and was like, "Yeah, I was wondering how you guys like it." And I was like, "I got the perfect guy for it. It's Mike. He smokes them down to the nubs."
I will say, and that's usually my rule is once it burns me twice, I put it out.
But now
And
with this,
so
you'll
now-
be inhaling ash.
Well, and I have known people who take a glass pipe and they'll take the nub and they'll put it in the glass pipe and or just a pipe in general,
That makes sense.
and they'll finish
actually,
it that way.
for
And
value.
this is just a way
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like, you don't have to go into a head shop
Yeah.
and buy a chameleon pipe when you're not that kind of guy. You go into a cigar shop and you feel a little more sophisticated.
So yeah, shout out to the Cosmic Glass. He does have a website, cosmicglass.com,
I'm sure you can just Google them.
out of Wasilla, Alaska.
Wasili.
So I'm gonna check in on this guy. So this is actually like I'm down to the end. It's 2 miles for me. As something it hasn't heated up as enough as I've gone to the end. It would not be like.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though.
But it's very clean. It's very but it's where I'm at now and my preferences. I guess I want something to like have a little bit more kick. By
You know what? You should try when we get them in. Definitely give Notoro. So they have two other. They have a Connecticut and a Maduro.
They
they're-
got the Habano.
Oh,
the
okay.
Connecticut and the Maduros.
Okay. Give their other stuff a try. I'm a big fan of Notoro cigars. I think they're, for the price point, I think they're killer. In fact, when they're in the humidor, they are one of my go-tos.
So here's my question on like you guys are talking about things like I'm learning about cigar and cigar economy, cigar culture. So cigars are not like always available. There's like There's like batches.
Yeah, exactly. Because
So I'm sure there's like there's the McDonald's of cigars. I'm sure that you can get a cheeseburger
For
that
the
tastes
most
the same
part.
way all the time, right?
Yeah, but there's only
But then-
there's only so many leaves you get. There's only so many boxes you can make, and then if it becomes popular, well, it's just gone
Right.
until the next batch of leaves comes up, and there's another batch of cigars they can make, and
And
then
to
they're
get
available again. And so they're
Dialed into this
Yeah,
recipe
so they're
or
not-
whatever.
they're not necessarily seasonal. That's why they're all grown in Central America and or Northern South America, is because you get close to the equator, you get those 12-hour days, right? And so they get more consistency out of it. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't sell out.
It's also
You know what I
weather permitting too, because you got
Yeah.
like the hurricanes or
Yeah.
flooding going on with monsoon.
And there's only so much space to grow leaves. And
Yeah,
if you're making
it's-
50 different cigars, each cigar only gets, you know what I mean? There's a limited amount of
So
what
here
you
I'm
can make.
I'm ignorant, so I'm asking questions. Like, do they so there's like batches?
So it's kind of like, so let's think about a car maker, right?
Okay.
So
Or
we've got,
think about whiskey. He
or-
knows whiskey.
oh, no, well, I'm just saying like there's Ford, and let's say they've got 12 models of cars they need to produce, but they only have one factory.
Okay.
So they have to retool in between cars.
Uh-huh.
And so what they'll do is economies of scale. They want to make as big of a batch as they can of the first car so that it sells while they're working on the next batch of this other type of car.
Mhm.
And then that sells and so on and so forth. So they rotate through. And a lot of these cigar makers will have 2-3 factories, but that's about it. So they have to rotate what cigar that factory is making all the time.
And a lot of it's based on sales too.
As a retailer,
Yeah.
How are you stocking then?
They're usually always
If it's available?
Yeah.
Right.
They're usually like the base stuff, they always pump out. Like there's always space in their factory to pump out. They know that that's going to be a high seller. But the higher end stuff is a little bit more seasonal because it takes a little bit more effort, or the tobacco's more expensive, so they only buy so much, and they just make a batch, and that's all there is.
And if you're doing long filler versus short filler, like
What does that mean?
Short filler. So long filler is like the filler inside is not chopped up, right? So you can take a long filler cigar and you can get an ash that long because it's a long leaf
That makes
that
sense.
holds together. Short filler it'll ash and ash and ash and ash. Now those are generally like a short filler would generally be blended, and so that's easier to recreate because it's stuff that can be grown in different fields and at different times, and it's easier to it's not specialized. It's
Okay.
like not like we're getting this one thing from this one valley, from this one field. You know what I mean? And it's aged this amount of time. It's you get a little bit of a mishmash, but
That feeds into my next question. Like, I'm smoking this experimental cigar. When were those leaves grown? Give or take.
well, it depends on how long they age them. So a lot of leaves will need to be aged, just like whiskey.
Sure.
So it's almost like, when was this grain grown? It's like, ooh, that's a tricky question. It depends on how long they want to age it. It depends on how long they want to ferment the leaves. You know what I mean? And make them darker.
Do they actually ferment the leaves?
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
it's
Most Maduro cigars will be fermented.
yeah, they'll like sometimes put them in a barrel, or they'll just sometimes just roll it into a big rope, and they'll just let it sit on itself. And
I will say, nothing ghetto about a toothpick. Whatever gets the job done, just smoke.
but we do have some tools for that now. If you come up to the shop,
From Seward.
from Seward.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a skip away.
Yeah. Hop, skip, and a jump.
But
I mean, if you do 90, it's only 2 hours.
one of the best cigars that I ever had, the Fuma and Corda by CAO. That one rolled it up into a big old rope and just let it sit there and ferment on its own for I forget how long, but could be years.
Yeah.
And they'll sit there and roll it into cigars. Then they don't have anymore because they stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
So what made that cigar so special to you?
It hit really hard on the nicotine level, which not everybody enjoys. But
But as a man who
like
drinks Red Bull with his cigars, he likes to be shaky.
yes, the flavor was just right. It didn't get too oily. It didn't get too bitter or anything like that. It just had a good all-around flavor. Now that was back in 2000. When did we start doing this? 2020.
What
The live,
lounge, this is what episode
or not the live
50
just the live stream,
53,
but the,
I want to say.
something like that.
Yeah.
I was looking at
the
it.
reviews.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah. So episode 53. So we started doing this a little over 4 years ago.
we
Yeah.
did it during COVID.
that was the last one I had, and I think that was the last time they were available. So it's been a
Okay.
little while.
So that feeds into my earlier question. So when there's something available at the retail level, like there's a window, like you should get them.
Sometimes, like that was limited edition. They were never going to do them again. But most cigars that they'll like, CAO is going to pump out the Brazils and
Oh yeah, you'll
Italias,
get Italias and cigar.
they're just going to pump those out, and they'll constantly have them on hand. But certain ones, the Fuma and Corda limited edition stuff, you're like Year of the Dragon. They're never going to make that same cigar.
And so it's like when you have limited shelf space, it's like, okay, I got a gap. Do I want to buy a Brasilia from CAO, or do I want to buy a Year of the Dragon that I'm never going to be able to get again? We're going to buy a Year of the Dragon. And we fill it with that.
Yeah.
Because,
But then again,
it's a $90 cigar.
So I'm going to do a tie-in because I really appreciated the Garo event that you guys did.
Oh, yeah.
It was really, it was
Dr.
neat.
Garo is a great
It
guy.
was neat
Yeah.
to meet Dr.
Yeah.
Garo and understand, like, he's a chiropractor that
Yeah.
runs a cigar company, and it was a wild story. It was a great event. So, like, when you're okay, so there's limit. So it's like, so the Garo event was tied in with Allocated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which I have finally visited.
Yeah.
And it's
a
a
really
gem.
nice
It's
shop.
a gem in
Oh, yeah.
Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
Long has been so accommodating.
Yeah.
And so
Best liquor store in Alaska
it
by
really
mile.
is. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like so many things in Alaska. It doesn't look like much from the outside. And you go inside and it's like, oh my
Well,
God.
and it's called Allocated, so you think, well, it's going to be expensive. Everything's going to be high end. No. I mean, they have everything you would want.
They have
And-
everything good.
Yeah, everything
And
good.
Pabst,
And-
which I don't know why.
and they're and it's
They
like,
offer everything.
and you don't pay premium prices. You pay good prices,
Mhm.
good Alaska prices for what they
I'm
have.
so happy.
Yeah,
I'm so, I
they're
got-
the best. Like, that's the place. That's where I go.
yeah, I'm a massage therapist, and the guy I go for massage therapy is also a whiskey drinker. So I
Yeah.
bought him a bottle as like a thank you, and Long hooked me up with like I've got in my little locker. I've got some Whistle Pig. It's my first. It's a
La
piggy.
la 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 la
I
la
can't.
la.
Can I not say stuff like
Whatever happens in your locker is up to you.
that? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I happen to own from Allocated some Whistle Pig, and it's awesome. It's like a fiery bourbon, and then I got him like a big barrel aged whiskey, and it was just a wonderful thing. But it's just it's so nice to have like Alaska. We're far away from everything,
Yeah.
right? And so it's so nice to find things that like we do really well. And I
Yeah.
think Allocated, like you guys do a great job
Yeah.
for cigars.
Yeah.
Allocated does a great job for whiskey, rum,
Yeah.
and champagne. Apparently,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
champagne guy.
I'm not either, but
Yeah.
But and that's a great thing about Allocated is like they kind of have the same philosophy as us. Is like make it good and don't charge Alaskans out the ass for it just because Alaskans expect that. Like no. Make it available to as many people as you can and make it as high quality as you can and just provide the better product and then people will come.
And then like you guys are offering a really curated cigar experience. They're offering a curated whiskey experience, I think,
Yeah.
because he goes out and visits, like, just from chatting with him, he goes out and visits the distillers. And,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah,
he's like,
Oh, they go down to Kentucky.
Yeah,
they do barrel
exactly,
picks.
exactly,
Oh yeah.
exactly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's talk
They
about
got
That's
something
wild.
come up in Vegas here soon that they're going to.
Yeah.
what's that?
They got a whiskey pairing down in Vegas. They're
Oh yeah,
coming up.
Allocated is doing.
Well, not that they're doing that; they're going to.
Oh, okay.
So they're actually hitting it up to see what they can get new.
I was
Yeah.
talking to them about that, and he's like, yeah, like when you go to some of these places, they don't really have a tasting room, so they just take you to the rick house in 90-degree weather and 80% humidity, and they're just popping tops of barrels and handing you shots.
Here with some ambient temperature whiskey.
Yeah, and they're just handing you this, and it's just like they give you a spit barrel, and it's just like it doesn't matter. It's so hot, your body absorbs the fucking fumes. You're completely shit-faced by the time you leave there after 42 different barrels you taste.
When I was at that hotel bar that I was telling you, like the outdoor bar that I bartended at college, since it's an outdoor in Scottsdale, like ambient temperature in the shade is 112 degrees. So if I didn't like you, I would give you a free shot of ambient temperature Jack Daniels. Here you go. You want a free shot? And it's like, and nobody can stomach 112-degree Jack Daniels.
Oh god,
It basically bounces off their stomach.
that's pretty bad.
On that note,
Yeah, we are getting it to the point.
So on that note, we'll see you guys on the first Saturday of next month. I don't know who our guest is. We'll figure it out as we go, and hope to see you guys there. If you have any questions, or you want to see us do something in specific, or try out a very specific cigar,
or if you want to win a
if you want to growler,
Growler.
just give us some comments. Let us know what's going on, and we'll definitely read through them and figure out what we can do to be better for you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and everyone have a great evening.
thanks, guys.
As I slowly
Hold that
scroll up
pose,
here.
guys.
Hold that pose.